What's up, guys? Welcome to the Bulls on Tap podcast. I'm Alejandro with your future host, your current host for the foreseeable future. We have Sal Bass and Justin J. Tatu. How are you guys feeling today?
Doing good, man. Doing good. How you guys doing?
Real good. Doing good, man. Anytime you get to talk Bulls, it's always a good day, good or bad.
True. All right, we've known Sal for a little bit. We did a episode prior. We're just getting to know Sal, interviewing him, and we're gonna do that with Justin right now. Just a brief icebreaker. So, right now, what do you feel like the audience should know about you as a person?
Um, I'm just a normal dude who likes basketball way too much. So that's the really the only. I mean, my name says it all. J Talks Hoops. Like I'm not just a Bulls fan. I watch an obscene amount of basketball, and I'm just a guy who likes watching and talking about basketball. That's how all this got started. Is I think it was 2 years ago. I blew my bicep out, and the during the surgery, it was a long recovery process. Too much free time on my hands, and my now wife, she was my fiance at the time. She was like, "You should just like try a podcast about basketball or talk about basketball. Like try to do something with it because you watch it so much." So that's pretty much how we got here.
Nice. But what made you want to do the Bulls? Like, what? Why are you a Bulls fan? Tell us about that.
Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan indoctrinated me into it. I was like, I think I would have been 7 years old during the '97 finals, and I saw the flu game. And to a 7 year old, and the way they were talking about him, they made it sound like, they made it sound like it was way more than the flu. They made it sound like he was on death's doornail, and he was still, dominating. So from that moment on, he was always Superman to me. And then the next season, that '98 Last Dance season, like I was locked in. I live in Minnesota, grew up in Minnesota, but back then all of the Bulls games were on WGN. So I could watch pretty much all of them, and that's just where I was as an 8 year old, just playing it in front of it, and been a Bulls fan ever since. Hasn't been that great ever since, but I'm still here.
Oh yeah. I've told Sal this, but it's very much interesting to hear about a perspective of when you lived and watched The Last Dance versus mine, where I just saw it on Netflix. So it's great to hear that side as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was 8 years old, so when The Last Dance came out on Netflix in 2020, seeing it through the eyes of an adult was like a totally new experience because there's things you don't pick up on as an 8 year old. As an 8 year old, I'm just watching. Like I didn't know as an 8 year old that it was Michael Jordan's last year or it was The Last Dance or cried when they told me Michael Jordan retired when I was 8 years old because I didn't see it coming. So watching it as an adult was cool for sure.
Oh yeah. Then we fast forward to today, and it's not looking too great, especially coming off a loss against the Detroit Pistons. Sal, what did you take away from last night?
What did I take away? Let's see. I thought that since probably the trade deadline, I would say this was probably their best start, best first half of basketball, score wise, and actually performance wise too. They came out red hot from the 3-point line, which is something that always is make or break us throughout the season. We're either hitting them all, or we're missing them all. There's usually rarely an in between. They had a good 3-point. It was a 3-point deficit at the halftime, and I thought, maybe they'll make this one competitive. And against a team like Detroit, as powerful as they are, I had my hopes high. But unfortunately, as the third quarter went on, and as we all know, the final result, it just didn't happen that way. It got a little bit. It got a little bit harder to watch the more it went on. So.
Oh, Justin, what are your thoughts?
Pretty similar to his. I mean, we had the lead after the first quarter, and we had 8 turnovers, but 9 3-pointers that we made. And I think I tweeted after that first quarter, if we can make more threes than we can do turnovers, we might actually win this thing. It didn't shake out that way. I think we finished with what was it, like 24 turnovers and 19 made threes or something like that. So yeah, this team, the only path that they have to winning is to make more threes than they do turnovers, and they're such a high turnover team. It's not going to happen. I mean, Nick Richards had 5 turnovers last night, and he's a center who barely touches the ball. So it's just it's a rough watch the rest of the year, man. got to try to find the little things in the game that we're looking for, like Buzelis's growth, Rob Dillingham's growth, if he ever sees the court to get any of that growth. Josh Giddey, like I'm looking forward to watching Josh Giddey the rest of the year, because if there's ever an opportunity for him to just put up obscene stats, this is that opportunity. And you saw it a little bit last night. He was on fire last night. I think he had like 3 assists and 4 rebounds or something. So he didn't have as much versatility to his game as we're used to seeing, but he should be going on a scoring run coming up here with the way this roster is constructed.
Oh yeah, this might get some people upset, but I don't mean it in a negative way. But there's some pressure right now on Josh Giddey to elevate some of this team. Mind you, a lot of it's put together pretty poorly, so I'm not expecting the world. But it'd be impressive if he can, make a Nick Richards or Yabusele, look more appealing, especially when their free agency's coming up, and then teams would want to sign them to longer, bigger deals. I know Yabusele wants to leave entirely, but I mean, the money talks, But what do you think, Sal?
I mean, I'm looking at this team. I said in our show, I'm looking at these games a little bit more from a different perspective now. Not so much of a strategic standpoint. I'm looking more of what bits and pieces we can take into the next season, because at this point of the season, I think Bulls fans, we could pretty much write this season off, and this is quite a wash. We're just whatever players we could take in the next season, that's a win. So I'm kind of scoping out, who could fill the role next season. I was big on Anthony Simons, and he hasn't really been filling up to his potential that I thought he could be. He takes a lot of questionable shots. Now, granted, he can hit those shots, but recognizing the caliber of shots you're taking is big, and he's taking a lot of wacky shots. I'm a big fan of Rob Dillingham. I think that man's speed is insane, and the second we can harvest that speed and put it to use, that's going to be a huge weapon for seasons to come. So I still have fun watching the games. Call me crazy, I still have fun watching the games, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm still like 6:50. I'm like, oh crap, I gotta hurry up, I gotta watch the Bulls games. You know what I mean? It's still fun to me, like, because this is, to me, okay, you guys are gonna call me crazy, to me this is fun. This is where you start to build. I said it on Bulls on Borders, like, no one buys Lego sets fully built. You know what I mean? The fun is more building it. And I feel like we got a lot of good pieces. Now, granted, I don't think many of them will be coming back next season, but this is your chance to grab whatever piece you need from this roster, maybe go in the free agency and try to see if you can swing some big pickup. You have a lot of expiring contracts, so it's very much, as much as a Lego set, it's kind of like a Rubik's Cube, where now we got to see if we can make the right moves to complete that cube. So it's been, it's still fun.
I 100% agree with you, man. Like, I'm not like I said earlier, I'm not rooting for wins or losses for this team, just because I'm obviously not rooting for wins because I don't want another play-in appearance. And then if you look at the standings, right now we have the 9th best lottery odds. We could lose the rest of our games and we're still probably going to finish with like the 8th best lottery odds, because all the teams below us are just going to tank away anyway. So we're stuck where we are. So I don't care about the outcome of these games at all, but I'm still having fun watching and seeing, like, okay, this is what Buzelis is doing well right now. This is what he needs to improve on. Rob Dillingham, I'm seeing, the shiftiness and how easy he's able to get into the paint, but then how he needs to improve on some of his decision making in those moments too. So there's things I'm having fun with, and then there's things that are driving me crazy, like having to watch Colin Sexton get ticked out there over Rob Dillingham, and just seeing, like, I like Isaac Okoro. He plays really hard. I like Jalen Smith. He plays really hard. Same with Trey Jones too. But seeing those guys get so many minutes, and I really can't blame Billy Donovan for it. He's a basketball coach. He's going to try to win every game. But you guys saw his quote last night where he was saying, he was just trying to get the most familiarity he could on the court to try to get the win. So a lot of us are like, man, don't worry about the wins. Let's just worry about Modest and Rob and getting the young guys. But there's that seems to be the disconnect with the team right now, is the moves at the deadline would suggest that they're tanking, and you would think AK wants Billy to play Rob Dillingham and play before he went out Jaden Ivey and all these guys, but Then you got Billy Donovan. He's on a totally different page from AK. He's like, no, I'm trying to play lineups that are trying to get me to win, and that's not those guys right now. So it's going to be an interesting final 20-something games here.
Oh yeah, I think what I'm trying to find interest in is the fact that we could have 3 to 4 picks in the lottery, 2 in the second round, maybe 2 in the first if Portland makes the playoffs. So you add 4 new players to develop that way. I think that'll be fun. With my question now would be with guards primarily being at the top of the lottery where the Bulls range is at. When you have Ivy, Rob, and Giddy as 3 players to bring in, it's how would they complement who would be left out? But we're also at ground zero, so it doesn't really matter where like the best comes out. Excuse me, the best will come out on top.
Do you guys think that Jaden Ivey's going to be here next year? Because it's looking kind of sketchy to me. I mean, Billy had a quote. It might have been today or yesterday, where he said he thinks Jaden Ivey needs a fresh start. Now, he might have been saying Chicago is going to be his fresh start, but just that everything that's gone on this week with the DMP and his knee might be a little sore now. He's out for 2 weeks. Like I could see that being interpreted as Billy saying this kid might just need a fresh start total. And the Bulls really have no tie to him. They didn't give up anything of value for him. It was Kevin Huerter, no draft picks or anything like that. So do you guys think that Jaden Ivey's going to be back next year? Because I'm not so sure.
I mean, contractually, if you're looking at just his contract, of course, it's easy to say he's going to be back because he's got 1 year left. However, I mean, I think he'll be back, but the thing is, what version of Jaden Ivey are we going to get? Because, like he said in that interview, the old JI is dead, the new JI is alive and ready, and he made a kind of a Christian. He's like, I'm a man of Christ now. Which those of you who follow, I'm not trying to make this a biblical, show, but at the same time, when you're born anew like that, it's kind of like that old person you saw is gone. Like I'm going to elevate myself into a new form. Now that doesn't necessarily mean bad. I mean, he could be like, you know what? I may not be as fast as I used to be. I may not throw down those powerful dunks like I used to, but I'm still going to be a lethal shooter. I'm still going to cut, hit my shots off the screen. I'm still going to be a volatile asset to this team. As far as do I feel like he's going to be on the team next year though? It's hard to tell because it's hard to tell who's staying and who's going. 1 minute you think we're going to re-sign Io for the duration of his career, and next thing you know, Justin, you know better than me, he's in Minnesota. Like,
yeah,
this team and this organization has so many different directions it goes in that us as Bulls fan, it's hard to kind of keep up with everything. But I mean, all signs are pointed at him being back. It's just I'm hoping that we get a Jaden Ivey that can play 70 plus games as opposed to an injury prone nursing an injury Jaden Ivey. At that point, I would say cut your losses and see what else you can get.
There is something that I did pick up on, but I haven't tweeted about it because I'm like, let me just see if this continues the next couple of games. So I first picked up on it on the game he got the DMP coach's decision, and his body language it's pretty bad, and sometimes it's hard to fault a young guy who's not playing. But that game he got the DMP coach's decision, he was in warm-up pants but a jersey top the whole game, arms folded on the bench, didn't get up during any timeouts, didn't talk to teammates, anything like that. Yesterday's game, he wasn't playing, he wasn't suited up or anything. Same thing. He wasn't interacting with teammates, he wasn't talking to anybody. And then I had a tweet that went viral, and I said, the way he's acting and he was wearing, this is going to sound anti-Christian, it's not anti-Christian, but I was like, him wearing that big beanie that says Jesus across the top of it, it's giving me AJ Griffin vibes. And if you guys know AJ Griffin, he quit basketball, to go be a minister. And that's, more power to you. But as a Bulls fan, that's scary if that's what this dude's looking to do. And there were a bunch of Pistons fan in the comments in my mentions who were like, yeah, he kind of did that in Detroit too. Like he'd sulk on the bench. He wasn't dapping up teammates. He didn't have great body language. He didn't seem like he liked playing basketball anymore. In his post games, he'd always talk about like, I don't really care what happens on the court. It's bigger than what happens off the court. So that's just something I'm monitoring with him is the body language. And like, does this dude even want to be in the NBA anymore?
Yeah. And then to correct Sal, he's on his last year right now, so he's coming up into restricted free agency.
Restricted, yeah.
So he could easily say, you know what, I'm done with basketball entirely. I think I could see that most like that AJ Griffin route more likely than him trying to go to another team, which I think in his best interest, I personally would, based on the Bulls' track record, based on just how many guards there are here. I don't know where that'd be. I can't think of a spot off the top of my head, but I imagine there'd be some suitors.
Yeah, he's a former top 5 pick, so somebody would take a flyer on him, even if it's the Bulls bringing it back on the qualifying offer. If he wants to play basketball next year, like he's going to play basketball next year.
Mm-hmm. He's going to have to bet on himself, though, man. He's going to have to come out and ball out. That's the thing, is no matter what paycheck he's going to get, whether it's our qualifying offer, he's got to accept the fact that he may not get the same offer that he would have gotten before the leg injury. Now, I understand it's not his fault that he injured his leg, and that was such a gruesome injury, but fact is it happened. Now you have to build yourself up from that. So whatever you get money-wise, just come out and play the best that you can, man. Like, understand that you're not going to get that $30 million bag that you know you're still gonna get a good payday, because he is a great player when he's healthy, but who knows?
Oh yeah. So transitioning now to tonight, what do you guys want to see from the Bulls against the Knicks? Again, we're not looking for wins and losses, but what are the things that you expect to take away from either Modest, Giddey, Rob Dillingham, even Millie Donovan?
So every game I do like a 5 questions I have going into the game post. It used to be 5 keys to victory, but now, victory isn't the end game anymore. So the ones I posted today were: number 1, can Buzelis handle being guarded by either OG Anunoby or Mikal Bridges? Number 2, does the Simons injury open up more minutes for Rob Dillingham? 3, can Josh Giddey carry over last night's hot shooting into tonight's game? 4, is anybody besides Isaac Okoro going to play defense? And 5, can Jalen Brunson get 50? Now, that's one thing. I had a post yesterday where I was enjoying the Cade Cunningham game yesterday because he's one of my favorite players to watch. So I don't mind when a guy like Jalen Brunson or Cade Cunningham torches this team, because I'm not rooting for wins or losses either way. I just want to be entertained. So if Jalen Brunson's going to hang a 50 bomb tonight, might as well, man.
What about you, Sal?
I'm with Justin as far as the victory. I do want everyone to go out there and try to get a victory, but with us being, so with a bunch of good picks dangling in front of us, I wouldn't, I just want us to go out there and try as hard as we can, still not get the win, but make it a close game. I mean, it's a really tough opponent in New York. So, I mean, anytime you go up against tough opponents, it really tests your team's character. What I would like to see more, not just for today, but going into the future and closing out the remainder of these games, is I want to see the Bulls play more through Matas Buzelis, because if this man is supposed to be the future, like he says he is, he's had a perfect 30-game opportunity with a team of new guys. He's now now he can come up and say, hey, they're going to build around me. This is my future. I'm the team now, without being obviously without being a cocky, arrogant person, but play more through him, set more plays up for this man. If this man is your future, make him your future, play him, like play through, run plays through him. I mean, I know he's been up and down lately, but still, if it's a wash season, you have this time to kind of prime him up and tailor him to be whatever player you want him to be going forward. And I still personally think he's not a power forward. He's a small forward, and we've seen that he's had more success when he's been slotted at the small forward. So what I'd like to see him do is kind of hone his skills in and take and finish the season strong, despite having a not so great season. As far as the rest of the team's concerned, just see what these guys got. You know what I mean? You're going up against a tough opponent. Just try to stay afloat. You don't have to win the game, but just don't embarrass yourself out there.
Are we in for a Yabusele revenge game?
I'm going to say this, dude. I'm a big fan of Yabubu's athleticism. Oh yeah, dude. If you're in the Bulls HQ Discord, which if you're not, you should be, because Guilty, shout out Guilty. He does like the best job in the world of running a Bulls Discord. I have the most fun in the world out there. I know he's in the chat somewhere, so shout out Guilty. I made like a Yabusele. I put his face over a Yabubu in a Bulls jersey, and I'm like, that's his new nickname, Yabubu. I know, Justin, you looked at it, you're like, what the hell did I just see? What did you just call this man?
Yeah, that's so far out of my realm of like knowledge. I was like, what in the hell is a Yabubu? And I think I must have said it out loud because then my wife filled me in on like where you took that from and like the reference. And I was like, yeah, I would have never known that.
Yeah, that's a $30 toy that's basically the new Beanie Baby, the Labubu. I'm showing my age with Beanie Baby, but yeah, I think you're going to see him play big minutes because we got Yabubu cheap. I mean, got him for a guy who wasn't playing at all. I mean, a lot of people weren't so happy with the caliber of trade it was, but I'm a big fan of what Yabusele's game has turned into. He can hit the outside shot. I mean, he damn near had a triple-double yesterday. I think he could be a good piece. I mean, just does he want to be here? That's the problem. Is all signs are pointing towards he wants to go back to Europe, and rightfully so. But while he's here and in the NBA and on the Bulls, why not have a little fun against your former team?
Oh yeah, I think what I'm looking for is probably what I'll be looking at all season is Giddey, seeing how if he could get good chemistry with these guys, get them in good spots, that'll be very promising. If he elevates this team, I'm not saying by much. I'm not expecting playing again or wins or losses, but if he just makes guys look better, that's a win to me in my book. He's able to, because he's going to be guarded heavily the most. So if he's going to go off for averaging 25 points a game, do it. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see out of Giddey.
Yeah, I agree. I want to see Giddey just kind of take the runway he's being given. And like I said, I want to see him just post ridiculous stats, and not just the counting stats either, because we know that Giddey's going to get, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. We know he can do that in his sleep. I want to see some of the more advanced stats look a little bit better on Giddey's end, like the plus minus stats. It's one of those things like, yeah, you can't judge a player on plus minus because you got to factor in what lineup he's playing with and everything like that. But when a player's consistent plus minus score is in the negatives, that's a little telling. So like Giddey, he had the flamethrower last night, but they were still a -7 in his minutes, which, I mean, that you can't really hang that on him just because his roster construction isn't so good. I mean, somebody was going at me on Twitter this morning because I called Nick Richards and Yabusele the tank commanders, and they were like, Yabusele almost had a triple-double. How is that a tank commander? And I was like, that's the definition of a tank commander, man. He put up the stats, but the team was horrible when he was on the court. They were like a -19 when he was on the court because Cade Cunningham was targeting him in the pick and roll. And no matter what Yabusele did, it was either a layup for Cade or a lob over the top to Duren. So for Giddey, man, it's going to be hard for him to have good plus minus stats and good advanced stats if he's sharing the court with Yabusele and Nick Richards, who are such liabilities on defense. But that's something I'm looking for Josh Giddey. Like you said, AD, is I want to see him elevate the team around him, not just get his points, not just get his rebounds and his assists, but I want to clearly look at it and be like, this team is better when he's on the court.
1,000%. I'm wondering if we're going to see much pick and roll action, especially with Karl-Anthony Towns not being the greatest defender, if they could try to take advantage of that. I want to see how it would look with Yabusele, if he's going to pop out, drive to the rim. Again, not much, but something,
Maybe. I mean, this whole team's a crapshoot. I mean, I'll say like I'll sacrifice, getting to the rim, and I'll play in. I want to see these players come to the ball a little bit more. I want to see this team limit the turnovers, because half the time when the ball handler's got the ball at the top of the key, no matter who it is, center, guard, what have you, we have 4 other Bulls standing outside the perimeter. 2 problems with that right there. No one's driving to the cup for what could be an easy roll to the basket, and 2, no one's coming to the basketball to help that ball handler not make a terrible pass and turn the ball over, resulting in 2 points on the other side. So get into the cup with slash into the cup, sure. But I'd much rather see this team learn to build a chemistry as far as pick up habits that they can take in the next season. Come to the ball, roll to the basket. There shouldn't be 5 Bulls players standing on the perimeter. Hell, there's 2 Bulls players standing next to each other in the same damn spot. It's like roll to the basket, move around, talk to each other. This team can be good if they just talk to each other, come to the ball, limit your turnovers.
That's really what it comes down to is come to the ball, limit your turnovers, and play hard. This team has, I mean, they've had an issue of playing hard for years now, but I've gotten like a reputation over the years for being a quote unquote negative Bulls fan. And my argument for that is always, it's not that I'm a negative Bulls fan, it's that I watch a lot of basketball around the league and I see things in other teams I don't see with the Chicago Bulls. For instance, last night the Suns and Magic played. The Suns didn't have Devin Booker. They didn't have Dylan Brooks. Those are their 2 leading scorers. They both get over 20 points a game. They still beat a almost fully healthy Magic team. The Magic didn't have Franz Wagner, but they're used to him missing games. But they still had Paulo. Anthony Black had a good game. Our old friend Javon Carter had a good game. And the Suns, their roster was guys that unless you're the most diehard fan, you haven't heard of them. They still pulled out a win. They still played hard. The game earlier today, the OKC Thunder, no SGA, no Jalen Williams, no Alex Caruso. They still beat a fully healthy Cleveland Cavaliers team. The game, as I was walking down here, I think, if I remember, the Nuggets had taken the lead back, but the whole first half, the Golden State Warriors, they were up double digits. No Draymond, no Steph, no Jimmy Butler. So I see other teams who the talent on page is not there, but these guys, they still play hard, they still play smart, and they limit their turnovers, they cut to the basket. They do all the little things that you need to win, which has been my biggest Billy Donovan critique his whole tenure is we do nothing but make excuses for him. Early in the season, it was, well, Giddey and Kobe haven't been here. You know, last year we were making all sorts of excuses. Well, he had Zach LaVine on the team half the year, so we didn't see what it really was, so we traded him. And that's my point is across the league, there's teams that got to deal with more injuries than the Bulls. They got to deal with everything the Bulls have to deal with too, but they still find a way to play hard. They still find a way to just grind these wins out, and we don't see the Bulls do that.
I think Billy Donovan is probably the 3rd longest tenured coach in the league right now, and he has the worst winning record out of all of them. I think it's him, Kerr, and Spoelstra. Yet to make a playoff appearance. Even in OKC, they didn't make it past the first round, if I'm not mistaken.
Didn't they make it past it 1 year and then KD? They made it to the finals his first year and then KD left. Or the Western Conference Finals his first year and then KD left.
Oh, yeah. But exactly, if you need a top 75 player to just make it that far with that much talent, I see people trying to outthink everyone when it comes to talking about coaching because we don't really know who does what exactly. But come on, at a certain point, you're just seeing it. I'm not, whether it's to motivate guys or not, I'm not that big of a fan of, oh, well, he needs to motivate players. They get paid millions of dollars to be motivated. It's if he's preparing these guys to throw out there. When I hear, yeah, we did a little walkthrough in the hotel. You're trying to make a playoff berth and you're talking about a walkthrough? I'm not expecting Jim Boylan freaking you punch in, punch out. But come on. Really lock in. Especially I'm not confident with him going into the rebuild. I've never seen anyone develop under Billy Donovan. Ayo Dosunmu was already 3 years in college as a junior. He prepared himself. That was Ayo. He only played him because the entire roster was out. So that's where I am with Billy Donovan headed to the rebuild.
I mean, do you trust the man with another rebuild? I mean, he's seen what 2.5 so far. I'm a firm believer that it's not my place to say that a person deserves to be fired because I feel like it negatively reflects you and it's bad karma. I don't want somebody showing up at my job saying that he needs to be fired. But at the same time, it's like, man, you're the longest tenured, you're one of the longest tenured coaches in the league. Tonight, he's going up against a team who fired their head coach after making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. And this man has only made the playoffs one time. So my rebuttal is, does he know something that we don't? Do you think he knows his time is limited? Do you think he's been told, like, hey, at the end of the season, that's it. sorry, we're not trusting you with another rebuild. We're getting our heads are starting to roll because of how you're running the team. Like anything like that come into play?
I don't know, man, because we still don't know how long he's under contract for. That secret extension got announced like 2 years ago. We have no idea how long that extension is for, and we know Jerry Reinsdorf. He doesn't want to pay dudes to not be in Chicago. So the whole situation doesn't make sense to me because this organization top down, they lack accountability. Reinsdorf, he doesn't keep people accountable. John Paxson had to walk into Jerry Reinsdorf's office and say, "I don't know how to do my job anymore. Please fire me," to get it changed. Like that's insane that the guy who works for you had to tell you, "I don't know how to do my job anymore, man." Billy Donovan, he doesn't have any accountability either. He can keep, it doesn't matter what he does, that his job is safe. And even the way Billy Donovan coaches, I think that's one of the most frustrating things for fans is the accountability isn't the same across the board. We've seen Modest Buzelis get yanked out of games for taking a mid-range jump shot. And then we see Colin Sexton take a mid-range jump shot with 3 guys on him and 18 seconds left on the shot clock, and he's allowed to still be in there. We've seen, how many times when Vucevic was on this team did we see him just have mental lapses in the pick and roll game on defense? Bad shot selection, poor body language, never was held accountable for it. Modest Buzelis has a poor rotation one time and he's yanked out of the game. So the accountability top down in this organization is terrible. And Billy Donovan doesn't coach with any clear accountability either, which has got to be really frustrating as a player for you to get yanked out for one mistake. And then you're seeing another guy on your team. You're like, that guy's made 3 of the same mistake I just did. He hasn't had his minutes affected one bit.
There's a post I saw, I don't know how true this is, by the Hoops Herald a couple months ago, or just 1 month, that the Bulls will be interested in someone else, a college coach. I believe he's for Duke. I don't remember. I have to pull it up.
John Shire.
Yeah. I don't know how true that is, but that'd be interesting. And it does seem, it tracks with what the Bulls do. Shout out to Fred Hoiberg, where they got him from Iowa. I'm just laughing because I'm sure you all have seen the recent video of Fred.
Yes.
Yes.
Lays that guy out.
Yes.
Where was that in Chicago, man? Where was that fight in Chicago?
Exactly. Like, I'm just wondering if there's any validity to that claim, because the way Billy does talk sometimes, like his time he just might be limited here.
Why would John Shire want to come here though? Like that's when I saw that report, I'm like, he's at Duke, which is, if they're not the most prestigious college basketball program, they're top 3. He consistently gets top recruits there. He doesn't have any problem recruiting, even with the new NIL stuff. And you're gonna take all that to come coach the Chicago Bulls, who I believe John Shire is maybe 40 years old, 40 like 3 tops. So it's not like he's gonna have any connection to the team. They haven't been good for essentially his whole lifetime. So what incentive would there be for him to do that? I have some coaches in mind that I would like to see the Bulls go after, and they're more assistant coaches on other teams. Like Sam Caselli's been an assistant for a long time under a lot of different coaches. He's had a lot of success as an assistant coach. He was a good leader as a player too. That would be my top candidate. But when I hear like the John Shire report, I'm just like, why would he want to come here? I just can't wrap my mind around what his thought process would be.
I mean, it's an NBA job. It's his foot in the door to the league. I've heard the coaching position referred to as you get hired to get fired. So if he's ever let go by the Bulls, he'd be able to still find another job within the league. You're in. So he's like, yeah, it might not be good right now. Young players, giddy, modest. He wants to actually elevate his career. It might not be the best opportunity, but it's still an opportunity. Get your foot in the door. Maybe there's one that opens up in a better ran organization.
Yeah. I don't know. Like Justin said, man, like Duke is one of the best college basketball top to bottom. And why would he want to come to Chicago? We've seen it before where coaches in the NCAA try to come up and try to coach the NBA only to fall a few yards short of success. And where do they go? They go right back down to the NCAA where they retain the same success they had. A lot of people were saying, Coach K the great coach Krzyzewski, he coaches the Olympic teams. Why doesn't he coach an NBA team? He'd be such a good team. Well, fact of the matter is he doesn't need to. You know what I mean? He has one of the best coaches in NCAA history, if not the best coach. He coaches the Olympics. Why would you need to bring him up to the NBA? Where this all ties in is NCAA coaches are a huge dice shot, man. Like, you don't know what you're getting, you know. And I mean, look at Hoiberg. Hoiberg, NCAA coach, really good. Came to the Bulls, terrible, went right back down. So I mean, it's a really big dice shoot. I'm with Justin. I'd rather have an assistant coach from a winning organization. That's what happened with Tom Thibodeau. We got an assistant coach from a winning organization. Tom Thibodeau came to the team. Boom, we're winning 60 games a year. Yes, it also helped that we had a man named Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, and one of the best put together teams since the great MJ there. But that man was there coaching us. I'm with Justin. I like Sam Cassell, Jerry Stackhouse. I mean, there's a few other ones that I wouldn't mind seeing just get a shot. You know, the Bulls are in a spot where it's like we're so, I don't want to say so far at the bottom, but we're at a point where, hey, change it up a little bit. It can only get better. I mean, you can't get much worse. I mean, you can't get very much worse. It can always get worse, but I would like to see an assistant coach from a winning organization rather than a fired head coach from a failing organization, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's way more of a successful track record in the assistant game. Like Ime Udoka was a assistant coach before the Celtics hired him. And if he hadn't done all that off-court stuff, he'd probably still be running the Celtics. But Joe Mazzulla was an assistant under him, too. They promoted him up there. Jordan Ott's been fantastic in Phoenix. He was an assistant for a long time. Like, that seemed Mark Daigneault in OKC, probably the best coach in the NBA right now. And he was an assistant for a long time, too. So there's way more of a track record. If you try to find a successful guy who made the leap from college to the pros, I'm really struggling to think of one. I mean, Billy Donovan might be the most successful one. Yeah. And maybe the way the college game is these days, maybe they'd be a little more adjusted to it because these kids carry themselves like pros now. They're millionaires in college now thanks to NIL. So maybe you'd be more adjusted to do it. But I don't know. The track record just really isn't there.
I definitely see it. I've come around to you guys' point. It's almost like it'll be a shortcut trying to hire a college coach versus someone who's been in the league. I almost like to say pay their dues. You see it now with the Hornets too. Charles Lee. Mm-hmm. At first, everyone was very skeptical during earlier this season too. Is he the right guy? Him and LaMelo are butting heads, but now you see that they're on their way to be back into the play-in. I know they're one of the first teams to actually make it when it was first introduced.
Yeah, he's a great example. I mean, Charlotte, that's a team where when people say the Bulls are like a move or two away from being a contender in the East, I just want them to look at Charlotte because Charlotte's on the come up, man, and they're getting really good really fast. They had a really bad start to the year, but Con Knipples found his rhythm. Brandon Miller finally looks healthy. LaMelo Ball is playing with a little more control these days. And they still don't have like a great five. So they'll still have a pretty good draft pick. They'll be, the 9 or the 10 seed tops this year. Maybe they win the play-in, sneak into the 8 seed. This is a deep draft. So if they go ahead and either use a draft pick on like a real starting center or acquire one in the off season because they will have cap space, like the Hornets are a team that Bulls fans need to be looking at when they say, oh, we're not that far off. Like it's getting further and further away, guys.
Are the Bulls a Con Knippel away from being at Charlotte's level, or do they have more work to do?
Yeah, I love Con Knippel, man. Like they still need more pieces, but hell yeah, Con Knippel would help this team.
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on what context. Like, I don't think one player like Knippel will make this team that much. I mean, Con Knippel will make your team better. I don't think it's one Knippel away from being competitive again. Mm-hmm. I think much like Charlotte, the beautiful thing about Charlotte is they have 3 players that we just mentioned that they drafted on their own. Brandon Miller, Con Knippel, the great LaMelo Ball, incredible fashion, might I add. But I'm a big fan of drafting players from the draft. Much like them, the Bulls only found their success when they drafted anomaly players. Like if you think of our two most successful eras, it's the Jordan era and the Rose era. What do those two have in common? We drafted both of them. Drafted Luol Deng, drafted Joakim Noah. Like we drafted pieces. So that is really the only tried and true, I don't want to say only, but one of the only tried and true ways to build a successful franchise is through the draft. So I'd like to see them just draft a bunch more players. I love the fact that Charlotte is set up to be good. For a long time, they were a joke of a team, and I'm glad to see that they're finally on the up and up. Well deserved.
Anyone you guys seen the draft for the Bulls? I know it's a bit too early, especially before the NCAA tournament, but anyone you guys notice right now within the Bulls range or one of the top prospects?
It's really hard because the lottery is such a crapshoot. Like we have no idea if we're getting the 3rd pick, the 8th pick. So it's really hard. I've said a million times, I do not enjoy college basketball. Like I try to watch it. I've really been trying to tune in lately. And it's just such a different game than the pro game. And there's so many starts and stops in it. The games take forever. It's just not a fun watch to me. But I've been trying to. But if the Bulls can get, it seems like this draft is 5 deep. Like if you get a top 5 pick, seems like you're getting a hell of a player. So if they can get a top 5 pick and pair that with Modest Buzelis and pair that with Josh Giddey, then we can start being a little more optimistic about this team.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, it would. I'm with you. It depends where you fall, but let's just say, are we talking? If we're talking top 5 and top 3, I'll say you take the best available player at the draft. I mean, this is a time of the Bulls era where no position is safe other than Modest. And if you're asking me who I'd pick if I was the GM, no question about it. AJ DeBanza looks like the player that is going to be, I mean, dare I say, he's going to be the next KD in this league, man. That guy carries himself like an absolute professional, man. If you look at his stats for the last few games, they're absolutely astronomical. And not only that, he carries the demeanor like, I want to win. I'm going to make us win. Like, and that's something that the Bulls need. We need a player that's, hey, you want to win? I'll make you win. And I don't care what I have to do it. I don't feel like we have a player on our team right now that's like that enforcer, that grit and grind guy. So a player like him wouldn't be a bad pick. I know a lot of people like was it Caleb Wilson from UNC. That'd be a great player because he could slide right in there. Another big guy, and I like what he's doing down there. People like Boozer. I mean, that's cool. Cam Boozer, cool. I mean, I would like to challenge that if people didn't know who their dad is, who his dad was, how many people watch Cam Boozer games, you know what I mean? But honestly, AJ DeBanza should be your target.
Man, I love Cam Boozer. I'm not gonna lie. Like that's my if I had the number 1 pick, I would take Cam Boozer. I understand that DeBanza and Peterson and maybe even Caleb Wilson have higher ceilings than Cam Boozer, but I look at Cam Boozer and he has the highest floor to me. Like bare minimum, that guy's going to be a 16-10 guy. And I know people will say the Carlos Boozer thing, and I'm a Carlos Boozer defender to a certain extent because that dude, he still gave us 17 points, 10 rebounds every night. Like when you needed a bucket, you could give it to him. Never understood why people expected him to be good at defense. There wasn't one point in his career where he was good at defense. And then he gets to Chicago and everybody wanted that. But if I had the number 1 pick, I would take Cam Boozer just because, one, he's a position of need. How long have we been begging for like an actual 5 of the future here in Chicago? That would be Cam Boozer. And 2, like I said, maybe the ceiling isn't as high, but I feel like the question marks aren't there with him either. Like Darren Peterson, I don't know if that dude likes playing basketball. I have no idea what to make of him. Super talented, but I just don't get what's happening. DeBanza, there's some question on how much of his game is going to translate to the pros when you see some of the highlights. Like, can he really get away with that at this level? And Caleb Wilson, with him, it seems to be the biggest concern is his shooting and what is he going to be in the NBA? Because he has the body of a 3, but he plays like a 4, which in today's NBA might not be that big of a deal. But I'm just saying, you were looking for somebody who wanted Cam Boozer. I want Cam Boozer.
I love Cam, man. I loved his dad, dude. When we got Carlos Boozer and that he was like our consolation prize from the LeBron, Bosh, and Wade strikeout, I was happy still. Like, and plus he rocked some really cool shoe polish hairdo for a few like. But you know what? I supported that. I'm like, hey, brother, man wants hair, he's got hair. I mean, if he has even a quarter of the play style that his dad has, he's in for a great career. And I agree what you say. He's got probably the fewest question marks out of everyone out there. Darren Peterson, like we said, is he not playing the second half? Like I don't know what's up with that guy. I know, is he a guard? I don't know very much of him, but he's a guard, right?
He's a guard, and I mean the two things that throw me off with him is, one, does this guy like playing basketball? Because people are saying he's saving himself for the NBA, which, okay, maybe, but you're making pretty good NIL money at Kansas. So I don't know. The way he checks himself out of games concerns me. And then I saw a stat yesterday, and I wish I could remember exactly what it said, but it was something like in the last 100, and it's like 110 or maybe even 120 possessions, he has one assist. So
Yeah.
that's kind of alarming. Like you kind of just stumble into assists, man. So he just seems to be, I mean, great shot creator. A lot of the shots that he does seem to get in Kansas, I'm noticing they're coming off pin downs and off ball movements and stuff. Like his release is quick and it goes in most of the time, but there's definitely concerns about him for sure.
Yeah, especially investing a top pick like that into essentially the player who, if you get a top 5 pick out of this draft, he's essentially your future. So investing long term in a player like that, I can see a lot of people scratching their heads.
Right now, the Bulls have 4.5 odds of getting the first pick, 4.8 at second, 5.2 at the third, and 5.7 at fourth. Then it jumps. We have no odds until we get all the way down to the ninth pick. We have 50.7, 25.9, 3, and then 0.1. So the lowest we could drop is 12, but then there's a little gap here where from 5 to 8 where we don't get jump in at all. So it really comes down to if we can get into the top 4. And I've noticed like 5 and 6, their odds kind of stink. Like if you're at 5, you have a 2.2% chance of staying there. So I sort of like where the Bulls are at, but also not really. You would want to be in that top 4, especially in today's draft. But I'm also glad we can't move down as much as a Washington or Utah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if you do get this is a draft class where, yeah, we want that grand prize of a top 3 pick because those are the most recognizable names and the talent speaks for itself on the highlight reels. But this is still a draft where you're going to get some great players, further into the lottery. I mean, I know we all want those top 5, but there's a lot of good players out there. Like I said, just draft the player that you need and build around him. Instead of looking for a standout player, look for a player that can mesh well. You know what I mean? That way he doesn't have to be the guy that carries a team on his back and put that pressure on him. Look for a guy that just fits in the system.
Can I talk about someone that I don't like in the draft and I don't want the Bulls to get?
Is it gonna be I think I saw you and Don going at it the other day about a guy. And if you guys aren't following Don, I think his handle's like at the ball in my hand. One of the best follows if you're looking for like good insight on these college kids, because he has strong opinions, but I'll give him his credit, man. He's usually right about these kids. But am I right? Is it the guy you guys were talking about the other day?
Yeah, Nate Ament. Yeah, he's sold on Nate Ament and I'm not, and I'm like, damn, because Don's usually right about this, and I'm like, okay, I see you, Don, but now I disagree. So I don't know where it's at. I just don't think he has that burst at a forward position for the lead. He could be a solid role player, but I don't see it as elevating to anything further. His release is too slow. A red flag for me in college basketball when I'm looking at prospects is if you post up too much. As if you're not doing that in the league unless you're SGA and Jokic, top 5 player. You're not posting up, so I don't need that in your bag at all. So when I see it being relied upon, I'm like, what am I watching? What are we doing here? So I don't want the Bulls to draft him as much as he might be good. I'd much rather be wrong. When it comes to these young players, I'd much rather be wrong than I told you so, because it's their career. I would like to see them go farther than, yeah, I'm right, and now they're out of a job. But that's a shitty way to think.
Right. Like if they had, if they fell to 8, 9, 10, whatever, and they took him, at that point you probably can't be that mad because he's probably the best guy on the board. But to Sal's point, like this draft does seem pretty deep. I'm starting to dig into it a little bit more. I've been watching more highlight reels, which I need to go and watch the actual games because anybody looks good on a highlight reel. But that Mikael Brown Jr. That kid looks pretty nice. I've
Mhm.
seen some Koa Pete tape. He looks pretty nice too. The Illinois kid, Wagler. Like it
Yeah.
seems like there's going to be a lot of talent in this top 10.
The guy I'm sold on is Darius Atoff Jr. from Arkansas. Man,
Mm-hmm.
he almost had 50 points the other night. He's a bucket. He just gets whatever shot he wants on the court. I haven't seen him too much of the finishing side, but I like the way he operates in the pick and roll, and his jump shot is so fast.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. With March Madness around the corner, I got to start watching. I'm guilty of, the NBA is hard to keep up with as it is. So for me, watching NCAA games, it gets hard. I catch the highlight reels, but like Justin said, anybody could look good on a highlight. Hell, I could look good on a highlight reel if you give me the right camera. And but like I want to start learning these because anyone's reading through the Draft Express, like the mock drafts, and the Bulls are slotted to be 14th, and there's a name that you don't even recognize. You know what I mean? I'd like to be able to learn these players' play styles. I think Koa Pete was the only other player than the big names that I knew I knew who he was, and that wouldn't be a terrible pick if that's who falls to us.
Let me ask you guys a question. What is your all-time worst draft take? Because I can give you guys mine. I think people still pull it up, but I really was mad when the Bulls drafted Modest Buzelis. I thought they should have taken Dalton Connect, and that was when I realized like I got to start watching these games and not the highlight reels because I fell in love with Dalton Connect based on his highlight reel. I was like, this kid's he's gonna be nice, and then you see him in the NBA, he's really not that nice. So that's my all-time worst draft take. What's your guys? What are some of the like worst draft takes you've had in the recent ones?
Oh man, wow, that's a loaded question.
For me, it has to be Justin Jackson from North Carolina. I thought he was gonna. I wanted the Bulls to draft him so bad. I'm like, oh, this is a perfect three to slot right in defense,
Mm-hmm.
3-point shooting, perfect. He could have been decent. I'm still gonna convince myself that if he wasn't drafted to Sacramento, where careers go to die.
Bro, I
I
was a huge Justin Jackson fan. Like, I stopped watching college basketball probably around 2018 or 2019, something like that. No, whatever year Cole Anthony's freshman year was. That was the last year I was like heavily invested. But for most of my life, I was a diehard UNC fan. So like Justin Jackson, Bryce Johnson, Reggie Bullock, PJ Hairston, like all those dudes. I was like, they're going to be great in the NBA, and none of them really panned out.
It was so disappointing. I loved watching that team, and I'm an Illinois guy too, so I'm like the fact that
Mhm.
I'm like it took time to watch these guys and they didn't pan out sucks. But I hope they're doing great. I hope they're doing great.
Yeah. I think probably like my worst NBA draft take. I mean, it's not even that bad because usually the Bulls never pick anybody even close to who I want. You know what I mean? Because I'm always looking at the top three and they never get that. But probably, I think the year that they drafted Wendell Carter Jr., I was absolutely fuming because I wanted Michael Porter Jr. And when I saw how far, like, man, here's a guy that was projected to go number one overall, and he dropped as low as he did, and we passed up on him. Like, how the hell did we? How the hell did we do that? I was fuming. So that was probably my worst take.
That's not even a bad take though. Like Michael
Yeah,
Porter Jr. was nice. I mean, I've heard that what if thrown around like, oh, we could have had Zach Levine and MPJ and Laurie Markkinen together. And my counter to that is, why would you trust the Bulls training staff with Michael Porter Jr.'s back? Like that's, I don't think he'd be in the NBA right now if he'd been drafted to the Chicago Bulls.
I wanted MPJ as well, and I
yeah.
agree though. His career would have been toast if he came here. Like, no, you're fine. Go out there and play. You know,
Yeah, you can't feel anything in your left shoulder, but go out and play. Don't worry about it, man. Oh, that calf? Don't worry about that calf. You'll be fine. People are rupturing their Achilles every other week, but
Mm-hmm.
keep going on that calf, Kobe.
Justin, a question for you. As a personal trainer, What are your thoughts on these injuries that keep popping up in the league? How is there a way they could be avoided, or is it just natural because the pace?
It's a little bit of both. There's a lot of interesting ideas that are thrown around. Obviously, it is harder than ever to play basketball. Anybody who tries denying that, like you guys know, I'm an old school guy. I post old school clips all the time. I love 80s, 90s, 2000s basketball. And yes, those games were more physical back then. But go watch a game, man. There's a lot of standing around in those games. There's a lot of dump the ball down to Hakeem. Everybody else, you're going to watch for 10 seconds while he gets his shot off. That doesn't exist in the NBA anymore. In the NBA now, you're running up and down, you're changing direction. So that definitely comes into play. There's more wear and tear. And these kids, too, from a young age, I mean, from age, I see stuff online where it's like, this kid is the sixth ranked second grader in the country. And I'm like, what are we doing here? But from a young age, these kids are just playing basketball, just playing repetitive movements. And there is a lot of data out there that suggests that when you're young, like we're talking up until you're 16, 17 years old, so most of your youth athletic career, you should be playing as much as you can, whatever sport you can get your hands on, to get your body adjusted to different patterns of movement. Where these kids now, they're specialists. I mean, I've had kids, I'm a personal trainer, I'm also an athletic trainer, so I train football players, basketball players, all sorts of stuff. And I've had parents come to me and their kid's like 13 years old and they're like, no, he only plays basketball. And I'm like, that's kind of crazy, but okay, we'll work with it. So I think that's part of it too, is by the time like Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton, they're in their mid 20s. An Achilles is typically an old man injury. They should not be rupturing that thing this young. So it's the way the game's played, the wear and tear that a lot of these guys go on. And then the last thing too, it's the rule set of the modern game and what they're allowed to get away with. So if you watch old games, Euro steps were called travels, step throughs were called travels. Guys weren't doing the James Harden step back and then step back, step back, step back to your open jump shot. Like that was called a travel. And those movements, those one-legged, all the straight, you're up on the ball of your foot, all the stress is on your calf. Those movements, that's usually what you're seeing these injuries on too, is guys who that's kind of their go-to. That's kind of Tyrese Halliburton's go-to, is a lot of step back, a lot of start and stop. Jason Tatum, ever since he started working with Drew Hanlon, he's getting a lot of those kind of moves too, the step back and just what we call bag work now, which in previous generations was just straight up called a travel or a carry. What we call bag work now are also the movements that are most susceptible to those injuries. So I probably went on a long tangent there, but it's something that like I love basketball and I'm also an athletic trainer. So it's something that I've dived into a lot in the last year, just trying to figure out like, how does this keep happening to guys?
No, yeah, I love the answer. That's more layers to it than just we should have a shorter season. These games are too long, or rule changes that could. I mean, do you think there might be a rule change that could help this? I know, right. Biggest thing you pointed out was the travel. Do they need to be more strict about handling the ball?
Yeah, just call the game the way the rule book says it's called. I mean, what are we doing here? It's so funny to go online and you see something that like it's a clear travel. I don't know about you guys. I played basketball for a long time growing up. I was never like a star or anything, but I was a pretty decent basketball player in my area, and I went to a lot of camps and a lot of different things. And all of my life, I was taught once you do a jump stop, you're not moving. Like you can move one foot, but you cannot do a jump stop, step through with the right, step through with the left, take off on the right. Like that is a travel. It's been a travel up until like they started allowing that. It seems like within the last 10 years, and it kind of came out of nowhere. It's like James Harden started doing it one day, and everybody was like, "Well, I guess this is what we do now." So that's like when people talk about like issues with the league and they're like tanking's a problem, tanking's their biggest problem. I always say the biggest problems for the league right now are one, gambling. The way that you're in bed with the gambling organizations is crazy. Two, getting players to actually play because too many players sit out games that they're healthy enough to play. And then three, just the way the game is played. Enforce the rules. If you start enforcing these rules, the game is going to be more fun to play because guys are going to have to work harder to get better shots.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. To shift gears a little bit, just because I saw Casey tweeted, Anthony Simons has a left wrist sprain, per Billy Donovan, and they're gonna see if it's worse than what it is right now. And Trey Jones and Josh Giddey will be on a 24-minute restriction. Hopefully, we're expected to see more minutes for Rob Dillingham, per Billy Donovan.
You guys might see me crash out if Colin Sexton gets 36 minutes tonight. Like I might, my Twitter account might get suspended. I will lose my mind if Colin Sexton plays 36 minutes and Dillingham gets like 10.
Is it crazy to say I hate watching Colin Sexton play?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's crazy. I mean,
you guys let me know if I'm crazy or not.
I wouldn't say it's necessarily crazy. I mean, he probably just isn't the player you want to see out there. And like Justin said, when he gets the nod over somebody who, like, let's be honest, like, who are we more than likely to see come back and to put towards the future? And that'd be Bobby D. And they haven't played Bobby D nearly as much as they should. So, and then, yeah, I see Guilty in the chat. A lot of people not liking his rat tail, but, or flipping off the backboard. I mean, Colin Sexton has soured a lot of tastes in Bulls fans. I'll even say that I'm not his biggest fan. He's here, so I'll see what he's got. And if he helps the team win, he helps the team win. But I'd much rather see Bobby D get those minutes, especially if we're looking towards the future.
100%. Like we just, I don't think any of us are definitively saying that Bobby Dills is like that answer going forward. We're just saying the kid was a lottery pick. He was a top recruit coming out of high school for a reason. He's 20. Is he 20 or 21? One of the two. Like, can we just see what he is? And with Sexton, I've seen Colin Sexton in the past play good basketball. I have yet to see him play good basketball in a Chicago Bulls uniform. He's been terrible in a Chicago Bulls uniform. The defense hasn't been there. He tries hard on that end. And I don't understand. It's never made sense to me why he's not a good defender, because he tries really hard. And when you watch him on offense, he's pretty quick with the ball. But for some reason on the defensive end, he's very slow-footed. And he's a strong guy for a guard, but on the defensive end, he gets bullied. He gets blown past all the time. So it's the offense isn't there. The shot isn't falling. He's kind of a black hole when he has the ball. And then, yeah, what Guilty's saying in the chat, the rat tail's weird, bro. Like I've never understood the rat tail, man.
I just want to take this moment to say I love the new nickname for Rob Dillingham, Bobby D.
Bobby D.
Not Bobby D, Bobby Dill.
Bobby Dill, yeah, Dilly Bar.
I do think I want to see what he has. He's 21 years old. I need to see more what we can do. They traded Minnesota. I think they gave up a first round pick or two for him.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be something. Him and Reed Shepherd were at one point neck and neck in Kentucky, and it wasn't by an accident. So if he could at least be your sixth man, that'd be great. I think he gets to the rim very quickly. His decision making sometimes is god awful. He needs to just kick out more and realize that he's extremely small. But it's not the end of the world, and it's better than seeing, I don't even know how old Colin Sexton is, try to do his best Julian Newman impression. That's the way I'm going to put it.
I mean, with Dillingham, too, at least from my perspective, and granted, I'm not a coach or anything like that, but from my perspective as just a ball watcher, his mistakes seem like the kind of mistakes that will get better with time. Like, his greatest asset is his speed. The guy's a blur with the ball. He's shifty. Guys can't stay in front of him. It's also his biggest weakness right now because the game is too fast for him. That's what leads to the turnovers, is the game it has to slow down a little bit for him. Like, the decision-making will come once the game slows down to him, and usually that's an experience thing. Like, Cade Cunningham is a great example. His first couple seasons, his on-off numbers were terrible. The Pistons weren't any better with him out on the court. In the last 2 seasons, his numbers statistically are a little better, but what the big difference is with him is he doesn't get sped up anymore. Like, he plays at his pace, and he reads the game at his pace, and he puts his pace on the game rather than letting the game put the pace on him. So that's when I'm clamoring for Rob Dillingham, and it's because I want to see him outgrow those mistakes. I think experience is what's going to kind of ease out some of those things we're seeing in his game right now.
Man. And he's got the perfect opportunity to do it today. I mean, AD, you said Giddey and Trey Jones, they're on 24-minute restrictions. In my opinion, that's 12 minutes that Dillingham should be running with Giddey and 12 minutes that he should be running with Trey Jones, kind of piecing together a piece from both of their bags and kind of developing his own play style based on those two guards because, Giddey, elite, is elite. Man's when he's healthy, he's gonna be a force to be reckoned with, even in a Bulls jersey. And Trey Jones is signing up to be one of the better backup point guards in the league. I mean, so piecing together a little bit of both of their games, I mean, it would only develop them that much better. But like we said earlier in the show, I mean, what's going to end up happening is you're going to see Colin Sexton out there for 30 minutes, and you're going to see Dillingham out there 8 minutes, take a mid-range jump shot, and then get pulled. So
I hope that's not the case. All right, guys. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
I know we didn't run this by UAD, but there's a segment me and Sal are gonna do on this show. He has his trivia segment he does on his Horns Over Hoops. We're trying to come up with a little gimmick here. So our segment, we're gonna close every show with it. We're just gonna do random bull of the day. One of us is gonna throw a bull out there. I'll take it today. I'll throw a bull out there for you guys, and you guys, you're just gonna talk about him for a couple minutes. Tell me what you remember about the guy. So today's random bull of the day, Nazi Muhammad.
Oh, can I just get that out of the way right away? What am I going to remember about him? Dude, just pushing LeBron. Like I know that people get a lot of hate for hating on LeBron, and let me get one thing perfectly clear. I don't hate LeBron James. I respect his games. I respect where he stands. But in the heat of the moment, if you're a Bulls fan and you know that the reason you can't make it any further in the playoffs is because of that man, and you see big Nazi Muhammad get up and push this man clear across the gym. Yes, yeah, that was the highlight of I love Nazi Muhammad, man. I was a big fan of it. I wish we could have gotten him back in his earlier days because he was a great center. A lot of people don't really appreciate his earlier days and look at his Spurs days. My goodness, he was a fantastic center. Seeing him on the Bulls, it was, I don't know, man. Like everyone's always going to remember the push. That's what it is. But I was a big fan of big Nas.
As a tween in that time, just to echo what you said, Sal, yes. I'm like, yeah, knock him down. I don't, tired of LeBron. I'm tired of doing this to D-Rose, to Noah and all them. I need to see the Bulls push it further. Nas, it's okay. You could get out the game. And if LeBron gets out the game, cool too. This is my mindset when I was a kid, not now as an adult. But yes, this is what we needed. Oh my. He's forever a Bulls. If he comes back to Chicago, when the players come say hi to watch the game, I hope he gets a standing ovation he deserves. And they put up the clip. I know they won't, but it'd be great. That's just his highlight reel.
Nah, Big Nas was the man, dude. Like I have a funny story about that push. So when that push happened, I was in Kansas City. I forget exactly what I was there for, but me and a buddy were in Kansas City. And it was Bulls Heat, so we had to go find a bar to watch it at. So we ended up at like a random Buffalo Wild Wings. And when he pushed him, I jumped out of my chair. I was like, hell yeah. And everybody looked at me like I was insane. They were like, what the hell is going on here? But just, it was nice because LeBron, man, we can be honest. LeBron has bullied the hell out of the Chicago Bulls for like 23 years now or however long it's been. So it was nice. I mean, that's why we loved when Joakim clapped in his face or when Nas, put his hands on him because it's like finally somebody stood up to the guy.
Oh, yeah. And looking at it right now, Nas's prime years, I was a kid, maybe like ranging from, he's been in the league for a while before I existed to my tween years. Yeah, that, I definitely remember him for the push, but I'm glad he was more than just that.
He served like what, damn near 20 years in the NBA because I think he won a ring or two with the Spurs, and then after the Bulls, he was on the Thunder for a bit too. So that dude, he lived a long NBA life, didn't he?
Oh yeah, 18 years.
Seasons. Yeah. Let me just point out real quick. I'm really fascinated at the fact that AD was basically in diapers and me and Justin were at the bar drinking when this was going on. Like you got a man who could barely walk and and me and this guy were over here sharing, having a beer at a bar. Like that's insane, the time difference.
Yeah, I had to have been like 21 when that 21, 22. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah. I think that's what I was, yeah.
That's insane. Life is interesting that way. Life is very interesting. Like that, just the perception of watching it too. Like we all watching it in real time, but
Mhm,
yet the like experience, the way we processed it was different. Well, no, I mean us talking about it now, it seems almost similar, which is even more interesting.
mhm.
Oh yeah.
It, it makes it that much more interesting when you like talk to somebody with an age gap. I'll say that whether younger or older than you, just to see what like the perspective was when they were watching basketball. Because I like to think like I don't know about you guys, but me when I was a kid, I watched basketball at a different angle than I did now. Where I
Right.
was just more worried about one guy scoring all the points. Now you're looking at it a different dynamic. So just hearing how people watch basketball now as opposed to back in the day, it's pretty cool. That's all.
Real quick before we go too, we can't end this episode without shouting out Samity because he dropped a question for us and we forgot to answer it. But if you guys aren't familiar with Samity out there, man, go throw him a follow because he's
Mhm.
what would you guys say? He's a top 3 guy on Twitter.
Oh yeah,
Like just
class act.
one of the best. What was his question here? I got it pulled up.
That was a great question. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what Sammy throws the best questions out. All right, so he asked, "What's your favorite non-Bulls player that you like watching, and non-Bulls team you like watching?" He's been watching a lot of Spurs basketball and Cade Cunningham.
Easy question, man. Like, I'm a big Paolo fan because he's a paisano of mine. But honestly, you guys up in Minnesota, dude. Anthony Edwards is going to take this league over, especially with the departure of LeBron coming soon. Like, it's about to be an Ant-Man league, and I'm really hoping. And this was before Io even got there. I'm really hoping that they take home a title this year, and hopefully with Io there they can. But short answer: a lot of Minnesota basketball, a lot of Paulo Banchero.
The Lakers. I love watching Luka.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I didn't mean to have that audible of a
No,
reaction.
that's great. That's great.
I never met nobody who actually enjoys watching Luca play ball.
Yeah, I do. I enjoy the way manipulates the game and everything. They're not great right now, especially like in the West. Their team is just they're missing a lot. There's a lot more to be desired. I've always enjoyed Luca.
I'm glad that Sal shouted out Paulo because I feel like I'm the last dude on Paulo Island here, man. I'm defending that guy on Twitter every day. I've heard people call him like the worst contract in the NBA, and I'm like, if they want to trade him and the Bulls trade for him, I'm telling you, I'm buying his jersey in every colorway that it's available. I still believe in the dude. But
Yeah.
ironically, my favorite player, my favorite team to watch, I never would have expected this. It's the Detroit Pistons, man. I love watching the Pistons play. It's weird to say as a Bulls fan. Cade Cunningham, my favorite player in the NBA to watch. To me, he's a modern Penny Hardaway. He's a big guard. He's athletic, but he's not like a freak athlete like an Anthony Edwards is. He plays the game at his pace. You're not going to speed him up. You're not going to slow him down. And you guys saw it yesterday, man. He plays defense too. Like he's not a one-trick pony. He's not a dude who's just dominating on the offensive end. He'll lock you up on defense. So favorite player to watch, Cade Cunningham. Favorite team to watch, Detroit Pistons. Duran's fun to watch. Ron Holland seems like a young Ron Artest. Like he's going to jump in the stands someday and we're all just going to be watching. Beef Stew's ready to throw down. Like they're a fun team, man. I like the Pistons.
Always, man. I love Isaiah Stewart, man. Like I don't like advocating for like the violence part of it, but man, it always makes me chuckle when like the dude knows, like he knows, he has to know. He's been suspended so many times. He has to know if I leave this bench, I'm gonna lose some money. But the man's like, I don't care. Take my money. I'm gonna go knock this dude out. Like I love
Cade
it.
ended up paying the fine for not Nas.
Yeah.
Isaiah Stewart.
Do you
He's
know
got
how
me.
badly you have to want to fight to run out there when your knees are wrapped in ice? Like you gotta really want to fight if that's how you're going out there. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming on. I can't wait for more episodes from you two. Thank you all, everyone, for watching. This was a great experience. Justin, tell them where to find you, and then Sal, you'll follow as well.
Just find me on J Talks Hoops. Got the Twitter page. Always just talking hoops on that. Got TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff too. So Yeah, throw me a follow there. Let's talk some hoops.
You can find me. I am on my primary show. I'm one of the hosts of the Horns Over Hoops podcast. I host it with my two best friends in the world, Dan and Scott. So you can find us at Horns Over Hoops. The handle is different every social media, but there's not many Horns Over Hoops out there. So find us out there. I don't really run my own personal social page because I get addicted to phone way too easy, man. The less I'm on the phone, the better. The only time I want to be on the phone is to interact with you guys and make content. But before we head out, I'd like to thank not only you, Alejandro, but everyone at On Tap Sports Network for giving Justin and I the opportunity to take the reins of this show and talk to your fans, to your community that you guys have built up. I know me and myself and Guilty he's still in the comments here. We're writers for you along with you, Alejandro. So we've already kind of gotten our toes wet in the On Tap community, but to be trusted with your fans and addressing the Bulls to your fans, it's really special to us. And I can't wait until we put together a show and take care of your fans with Bulls content.
I'm very happy you guys said yes, because you both really love the game and bring unique insights. Already have great chemistry with the episodes you guys done over in Horns Over Hoops. It was just a no-brainer to do. I know you guys would just be an amazing job, put on a show. Despite whatever happens on the court, you'll still make it interesting and find something to talk about that's not repetitive, which I very much enjoy. I'm more pessimistic about this team than most, but the fact that you both could analyze the game, play devil's advocate to some things that just might be crappy, it goes a long way. And I know you guys will help push it further and bring more eyes to Bulls on Tap. You both are great.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, man.
We got a
Super
cool
excited.
Soon.
Intro's cool. We're going to do a lot of cool stuff on this show, too. I'd say if you're wondering what's going to set us apart from, different podcasts, because there's a million podcasts out there. I mean, shout out to, Hayes and Phil, Troy, the Cognac Boys. Like, I could name podcasts for days on here. There's so many podcasts out there. And we're going to bring our own unique little flavor to it and kind of hit the Bulls from some different angles. We only got 20-something games left in the season, but we'll have some good off-season content, and we're going to keep things interesting. So, yeah, thanks to On Tap for the opportunity. We're down. Definitely feel honored to take it over.
Sal, did you want to say anything or no? I thought you were just...
Oh no, I mean, it's just I'm excited to get to work and really take hold of this brand. I mean, I'm somebody, I say it all the time. The people who know me and talk to me, they know that, I love watching the Bulls so much that I'm one of the Bulls fans that whether they win the championship every year or go 0-82 every year, I'm still going to be excited to talk basketball. I'm still going to be excited to watch the games. I'll still, like I said earlier, I still get excited for the games now, and we're trending towards downward. So I'm not going anywhere. If I'm awake and breathing, I'm living, loving, talking Bulls basketball.
Hell yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Guilty, for being in the chat. Let's hope we see good Bulls basketball. See you, Red guys.